Hey guys, welcome back to Globetrekker Gaming. Today we'll be moving on to part 20 of our gameplay of Suzerain. Let's get going. So in the last part I met with, I believe it was the healthcare and education advisors, or heads of the department, I can't quite remember, and kind of worked out a plan to try to really build up healthcare and education in some of the more rural communities. It seemed like that was kind of more of a plan to just kind of get everything rolling, but it wasn't like anything set in stone there, but it really kind of establishes his policies and everything. And I'm sure there's going to be more going on down the road. But yeah, let's just dive into it and see what the next thing is. So yeah, over here, over in Narbel, that's I think where the meeting was before. There's something going on here. So it looks like meeting with Manger and Alfonso on Gassum. Let's see, there's a strike against Gassum, the Union and the Communist Party, and the labor strike as well. Same thing there. So yeah, I'm trying to remember what was going on with Gassum before, because I kind of, like, without knowing, I was really confused on that one. It was like the 30-part episode, or 30-minute episode that I did. Something about, like, the former president, Alfonso, is now, like, in charge of Gassum, which is, like, I think it was, like, it was an energy company, I believe, and so there's some sort of agreement we're trying to get with them, and I honestly can't remember, so I'm just going to dive right into it and see what it is. So after a series of intense meetings with Ciara and Pascal, so that was the two advisors from the last one, Lucian and Petter were laboring tirelessly in the capital, uniting democratically leading reformers for the crucial task of a new constitution. Meanwhile, Gus Manger had invited me to the Gassam headquarters in Narbel. It was situated in Ornobel, a neighborhood on the city outskirts. Next to it was the Demoni Gas Reserve, a prominent natural gas source. As our motorcade made its way through the Ornobel district, I noted the neighborhood's state of disrepair. The roads were bumpy and marked by potholes. We came to a halt in the entrance gates of the facility. A sizable mural depicting the Gassam logo had been painted on a nearby wall. Adjacent to the mural, a group of individuals wearing blue work vests had assembled. Serge skillfully parked the car, bringing our journey to a smooth and elegant conclusion. It's interesting the way it's like phrasing that there, but Gus greeted us warmly as we stepped out of the vehicle. Good day, President Ray. Welcome to Gassam's Narbel operations. I almost said Nobel. I trust Ministers Walda and Benewol didn't overwhelm you. It's a relief to have a break from all that. I'd be surprised if there are no demands. Good to see you guys. Want to talk about what we can do to help the development. Not exactly the most pleasant location. I still really don't, I'm just going to say good to see you. I don't really trust these guys, but at the same time, I'm just going to go into it with an open mind and try to be positive. So that's exactly what I hope to accomplish during today's discussions. Mr. President, I've been brainstorming a little something, the Gruny Rural Investment Plan. I reckon it's got the potential to breathe new life into our rural communities out in Gruny. Where's Gruny, even? So it's like over kind of near Hullsword, it looks like. We could consider a few things. For starters, we could give the farming business a boost with some subsidies. I feel like he's, like... I'm not really sure what he's trying to do, because it doesn't really sound like he's trying to talk about Gassam and everything. He's trying to talk more about resources and building up the rural area, which I think is good, but... Oh, he's the Minister of Rural Development, so I guess maybe he's not quite on the Gassam thing, but I don't really get why we're meeting with him here. I'm still kind of piecing together who everyone was, because there's so many different, puzzle pieces with this whole thing. So he kept talking as he guided me into the Gassam building. Mr. President, I got the appeal of that green bill, why is it green in all caps, that's been making the rounds in the Assembly. But I'm telling you, if we put the brakes on that and funnel those funds into the Gruny plan instead, we can make some real strides. Gus, I'm intrigued by your vision. It's a tough call, Gus. I need to weigh the environmental implications and the economic benefits. I have my doubts, Gus, but I'll give your plan some thought. I'm just going to say that. It's kind of like, doesn't give any promises, but doesn't say, for sure no. That's all I'm asking for, Mr. President. Just give this plan a fair shake. So our talk was interrupted by noise coming from outside the building. We looked out. A sleek helicopter was cutting through the sky. That's going to be that, probably Alfonso, I'm guessing. On it was our next appointment, Ebald Alfonso. Yep, he was the... Yeah, I remember he was the president before him, and I feel like our guy originally was allied with him, but kind of as, it turned into him getting inaugurated, they had some sort of dispute. It's from the first part, and you could, like, kind of pick how they approach. So Alfonso sure knows how to make an entrance, an extravagant show of wealth. That's quite the show of power. He doesn't do things by halves. I'm just gonna say he knows how to make an entrance. The man loves his theatrics. Before we meet him, I want to bring up one more piece of assembly business. The workers' rights bill. Look, I'm all for giving hard-working folks what they deserve, but isn't it a bit hasty to push this while we're still stuck in a recession? Short-term wins might end up costing us big in the long run. I get what you're saying, but isn't it high time we put people before profits? You've got a point, we've got to play this smart. Interesting perspective, but in my book, workers' rights aren't up for negotiation. I'm just going to say we got to play this smart. I'm not really opposed to the whole workers' rights thing, but I got to see how that's going to affect everything else going forward. And I think the main thing is, you know, building up the economy and everything. So when that comes to play, we'll see how things develop. So, Mr. President, I'm glad you're thinking about the big picture. We've got to strike a balance to protect our economy. Okay, I get it, Gus. Please come this way. Ewald and I have some exciting news to share with you. This is why I'm kind of confused, because if this guy's like the Minister of Rural Development, why is he like buddy-buddy with the Alfonso guy? Like, originally I was assuming this guy was like, you know, a co-partner with Gassom or something, but I guess we'll see. So I have faith you won't leave us hanging. Discussions were lively during the highway contract award. I'm willing to hear new offers. I haven't seen him since the inauguration. I'm here because something needs to be done about living standards, and the fact you managed to get Rizia entangled in this is surprising. I'm just gonna say that. I think he's fully focused on Gassom these days. His entire reputation is bound to this corporation. Admittedly, I'm biased, but I do think Gassom is extraordinary. What's extraordinary about another corporation? If he needs to be hands-on as chairman, then the business must not be doing well. I have no ill will against him. I'm just gonna say that. Why should you? As you know, he and I go back a long time. He isn't the sellout some soulless painted him to be. Shall we? So, walk down another hallway in the direction we just came from. Like a maze, isn't it? That's Quinali architecture. Oh, that's the Republic of Quinal. Okay, that's interesting. The hallways were lined with doors, glass panels in them revealed workers in suits and ties, many of foreign origin. So in stark contrast to the blue-collar workers outside working with machinery. So, what, they have foreigners inside and then blue-collar, like, domestic workers on the outside? I'm kind of confused. Why are there so many workers from abroad? The whole complex feels very hands-on. The white-collar seem to be having it good in here, while the majority are working out in the cold. I'm going to say, why are there so many workers from abroad? Because I think that's something that we really need to try to push, is getting more domestic workers. The best talent in Sordland was snatched by the SSC, that's the Swedish State Corporation, in the 30s. Most other corporations couldn't contend, so we had to look elsewhere. Ah, here's the elevator. Ewald ought to be up there already. There's a separate entrance by the helipad. So Gus punched a code and we began our descent. Let's do this. Ewald, my friend. He stood up from his chair. He had a perfectly tailored suit that he wore as casually as pajamas. Gus, you old devil. Takes one to know one. As promised, I brought our guest of honor, President Rayne. I hope you enjoyed seeing our facilities. President Alfonso, it's nice to see what you've built. They appear to be in much better shape. Greetings. I'm curious to find out more about where Gassom stands. I'm just gonna, you know, try to flatter him a little bit here. Whoops, I didn't mean to skip that. So it's fine. Nothing compared to the Gassom HQ and Hullsword. Still one of the standouts of the Maroon District. Please have a seat. Let's talk. So some snacks and drinks were served. Multiple Gassom yearly financial reports were scattered. So President Rayne, I'm here because we have a great opportunity in our hands. A business arrangement like that will benefit Gassom and Sordland alike. I also happen to believe that the current and former presidents of Sordland should stick together and share our experiences. This is indeed a business arrangement. Let's focus on that. Presidents sticking together. Let's put the past aside. Have a country to run. I'm gonna say that. We'll put the past aside. A sentiment I share, President Rayne. The welfare of Sordland must always be a top priority. That's the spirit, gentlemen. Sordland is above most else, am I right? As we discuss the future of Sordland, it is paramount that I comprehend your vision. The trajectory set for this country will inevitably impact not just Gassom. Okay, I get it. He's kind of just repeating what my guy's already saying. So I confess, I've been following the news from the Maroon Palace closely. I am heartened that your economic interests seem to align with mine. Even more so that you've chosen to align with the West. It's a policy I myself considered. Now, I hear that you are positive about the Kingdom of Rizia investing in Gassom. Yes, to take it as an encouraging sign that a foreign nation. I'm certainly receptive to the idea of engaging with international partners like monarchies, bringing its own set. Or my greatest concern is for the well-being of Sordland, whether that involves a collaboration with Rizia or not. I'm going to say, yeah, I take it as an encouraging sign, because I feel like that's still foreign investment that will hopefully help bring jobs and help economic growth. You make a valid point, President Rayne. The interest of foreign investors could indeed be seen as an endorsement. However, I would caution that such interest is not a guarantee of our success. So this reminds me of a story from when I was just starting out. A young farmer in Grooney, his father was a stubborn man and insisted on doing things the old way. But he had ideas. He wanted to modernize. Why are we going on this whole story, Gus? If you don't mind, I'm going to skip ahead on this a little bit. His father felt ill that he took over and transformed the farm. It took risks, made some mistakes, but ultimately tripled their output. Heartwarming story, but one successful case doesn't necessarily mean it's the best approach. This is the kind of innovation and growth. Is this story about you? Were you the young farmer? And I'll flatter him. I'll just say it's, something, innovation that's needed. That's the power of economic freedom. It allows innovation. It allows us to adapt and grow. As he finished his point, we suddenly heard the faint wailing of sirens. Back to the topic at hand. It seems we're at a crossroads with Gassam. It would tell of struggle and potential. No need to sugarcoat it. Gassam is teetering on the edge of a cliff. Without significant restructuring, the firm risks plunging into insurmountable debt. That's another reason why I'm not necessarily opposed to the foreign investment, because it seems like that's a big company with a lot of domestic workers, and so if we can get that foreign investment, I think that would really help it. So out of respect for our shared history, I couldn't refuse. I've always believed in the power of networking. I'm sure you've heard of Rusty Montoro, chairman of Rizian Royal Gold. So back under Alfonso's government, I was able to broker a deal with King Ramos Taurus. Okay, where are we going at this with, Gus? So Rusty Montoro, the Taurus family, the Rizian government, seems like an impressively powerful alignment. Without all due respect, Gus, I'm not thrilled you got Sordland in bed with a monarchy. So I've heard, Gus, I understand the need for strategic alliances, but yeah, I like this one here. It promotes, it's like, yeah, it's good to be strategic, but don't, compromise your own values. Absolutely, we're in this for Sordland first and foremost. In the world of international business, alliances are tools, not ties. Gus I don't know, he's striking me the wrong way. He seems like, I don't trust Alfonso either, but Gus just seems to be really, being in bed with, different, international actors that I really think is kind of giving a bad message. So thanks to Gus's Rizian connections, investors from the kingdom are now interested in Gassam. We've got an amazing opportunity. The demand for gas is steadily increasing from both international partners and the Swordlish state. All we have to do is ensure a consistent supply. The trouble is that right now, some of our fields are operating at only half their capacity due to resource limitations. But we have significant potential for expansion. Yeah, I think just go for it at this point with the current economic state. I think just try to get what you can, and then, it's probably going to be like, I don't want to say worry about the implications later, but I think at this point, that's what we need to do on this. So with the right amount of investment, we can expand resource extraction, fulfill rising demand, and ensure long-term stability. But that requires us to take risks. Okay, where are we going out with this? I'm intrigued by the untapped field. What's the potential return if we invest in these areas? That's a risk. Will the investment help Gassam from having to downsize? I've seen enough covert bailouts and handouts to know it's always the big businesses that benefit. So I'm intrigued by the untapped fields. With proper investment and development, we project extremely high returns in the first 5 years. Police cars driving down the street adjacent to the Gassam zone. We redirected our attention. I'm confused where this is dragging on about. So the foundation for a robust partnership is right here. It's high time we shift our focus towards sealing this deal. If we raise a minority investment, it would allow us to invest in further resource excavations in the gas fields and turn the company back to significant profitability. By significant, I mean our projections show that Gassam would be able to cover 80% of Sordland's gas needs in 3 years. I feel like there's going to be some sort of trick with it, but I think I'm in agreement that we should go ahead with this. Enticing proposition. However, I would like to know more about the risks involved. What if the expeditions do not yield the expected results? So if we are to invest in Gassam, I want to make sure that the company is also committed to improving the socio-economic conditions in Narbel. I'm just going to skip right to it. Because I want to ask the other ones, but these are going to give some sort of, textbook response to it. I wholeheartedly agree. The well-being of Narbel's citizens is a priority. With this investment, we could certainly allocate some funds to improve the local infrastructure and create more jobs. And what if we tie Gassam's growth to Narbel's development, get the company to invest in the community, that way everyone wins? Your administration's commitment to a market economy aligns with our vision for competitive Gassam. I mean, if this could actually work as, they're trying to say, I think this is perfect there, but I feel like there's going to be some sort of twist with it, but that's really what I think is something that could help out a lot. So with the government investment, we can further liberalize the energy market, enhance our technologies, and compete globally. A thriving market economy is the engine of prosperity. I believe in Gasom's potential. I see the potential for Gasom to drive Sordland's energy independence, but we need to make sure this is sustainable. I'm just going to go with the first one. I think that sounds good. I didn't even read the last two. I'm glad we see eye to eye on this. With your support, I'm confident that Gasom will be able to chart a prosperous future. Your words are reassuring, Mr. President. Let's harness the power of the free market to elevate Gasom and the entire Sordish economy. If the Sordish government chooses to invest, it would gain a voice in the broader company decisions, even as a minority stakeholder. The government could either liquidate its shares at a future date or continue to reap the long-term profits. See, the thing is, I don't really see necessarily why we need to have the government invested in it, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, give a little bit more to help benefit, you know, add on more capital and everything to get those, what do they call them, like the gas fields and everything. So, I don't know, we'll see when that comes up. So Ewald walked back over the window. He stood there, silhouetted against the vast expanse of the gas fields. After a moment, he turned back to face us. His gaze was steady, the expectation clear in his eyes. Well, Mr. President, will Gasom and Sordland make history or not? We're investing alone. Sordland will provide the majority funds, and Gus will tell Rizzi to back off. We'll co-invest with Rizzi. We'll share the costs and stakes. I'm going to go with that one. I think getting Rizzi to do some investment, yeah, it might throw... Like, I don't want to do all of that, because I still feel like there's a lot of risk involved with it, but I think doing that and having a foreign investor, I think, will make a big impact. So, I might come to regret this, but I'm sticking with this one. A joint investment, a wise choice, and it ensures steady funds for Gasom. I like the way you think, Mr. President. Sharing the cost with Rizia reduces our risks and strengthens our ties. Before we dive into the celebrations, I've allocated time during this meeting for President Rayne to discuss any concerns regarding Gasom's treatment of its workers. The labor union, along with the Communist Party of Sordland, has rallied substantial support from Gasom. So Alfonso nodded and looked. We need to address these concerns that could jeopardize the administration. Our duty is to listen and take action. Gasom stands a global energy powerhouse. It's only right to give back somewhat. We've covered a lot, or I've wasted enough time. I want to say we need to address these concerns. I want to make sure that they are, you know, if we're investing in the company, it's being returned to the workers in the community. So we might discover solutions beneficial to both parties. Do you have a proposal in mind? They need better housing, access to healthcare, and opportunities for education. I like this one, but let's see. So the wages of gas and blue-collar workers need to be increased. I expect them to contribute significantly to local charities, and we've covered a lot. I'm going to say that one. That might be a little over the top, but let's stick with it. A good point. I see the potential for Gasom to play a larger role in supporting our workers and the community. I will personally oversee initiatives to provide private housing. Okay, hopefully that's an actual thing there, because this seems like the perfect ideal situation there. So let's see how it goes. That's reassuring to hear. I trust you'll follow through. These are significant steps. I look forward to seeing these changes implemented swiftly. Yeah, let's go with that. We're investing a bunch in this company. I really hope that they can do that. Your personal commitment to these initiatives speaks volumes. This could be a turning point for Gasom and for Narbel. Well, Mr. President, we're committed to... Suddenly, it was interrupted. The quiet murmur of a conversation from outside grew louder, followed by the sound of hurried footsteps. A member of the private security team entered the room, his face taut with urgency. Let me guess, they broke into the office or something there. Alfonso and I leaned to whisper something in his ear. Ewald nodded solemnly, his gaze meeting mine with serious intensity. Gentlemen, it seems we have an unexpected situation outside. Some protesters from the labor union have blocked the main vehicular exits. So Katarina Horton and Dennis Stoller seem to be leading the group. It would be difficult to leave the way we came without causing trouble. Well, that's a pickle. What's our move, Ewald? I have a helicopter ready. We can leave undetected and avoid the chaos. I think we should face the crowd head-on. I'm going to do that. So have, like, the president speak to them and talk about the ways that they're going to benefit everything. That is your prerogative, Mr. President. Following the violent events of late, I highly recommend against facing any crowd. Mr. President, I advise you to leave via helicopter just in case. I can stay back and update the crowd. Sturge rushed in. Mr. President, I've discussed the situation with the Presidential Guard and the police security. They're advising us not to go out the way we came in. More police are on the way. You must make a decision. Okay, it's making it more tense and everything. Let's see what he does. Oh, okay, so that ends it. So leave Gasom facility and Narbel. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at that. Stay tuned for part 21 coming up. In that part, we're gonna see what happens with facing the crowd and everything, and see how the investment in Gasson pans out. So, yeah, otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for part 21.